And we are live again. WrestlePurists AEW Dynamite Review. WrestlePurists Podcast 117, hosted by myself, Joe Hulbert, and even a WrestlePurist backup hangman, better known to some of you guys. He will be joining us very, very shortly, probably in literally like a couple of minutes. He was just with us, but he just had to run off and do something. So he should be here very, very, very soon. So anyone expecting to see him reacting to Dwayne's most recent comments on the Pat McAfee show, you'll have to wait just a couple of minutes though. But we got an early start time today, and we've had to mix things up just a little bit. But blame Dwayne the Rock Johnson for that. I don't know how he could be so inconsiderate to make us move our WrestlePurists podcast time around. It's just ruining everything, Joe. However. It was a really, really, really good episode of AEW Dynamite. Fans seem very happy coming out of it, especially with the huge announcement of AEW Big Business in Boston's TD Garden next month. But first things first, please like, subscribe, send any super chats with any questions, any takes, any opinions, any reactions, any predictions, anything like that. We'll get them read out. Turn on our post notifications. Hope everyone's doing good. Starting with one of my fellow co-hosts for the evening. Well, it's evening here in the UK. It's not over there in the US, which most of our listeners are based. But, what's going on, Joe? Talk to me.
It's just a bit strange, isn't it? Us doing this like with Ibu of WrestlePurists allegedly. It's assuming he returns. It's weird doing it this time, but we're here nonetheless. I am slightly concerned for my friend. He seemed fine, and then we were about to go live.
The way he disappeared,
Yeah, we were about to go live, and it was like a panic came over him. It was like a sort of the clock was ticking, so to speak.
I think he saw the live chat, man.
I think so. Was. Yeah, bright lights, bro. They're not for everyone, Not everyone can be you and I like that. So yeah, but I'm thrilled to be here. We have a Dynamite to talk about, which, as you mentioned, was like honestly a classic episode. I think so. We have a lot to get into beyond the hilarious topic that's swept up today. So yeah, much to get into.
Yeah, so like I said, we've kind of moved things around to kind of suit the WrestleMania 40 kickoff press conference in Las Vegas, which. A lot of people are very, very interested in seeing how that plays out. So, we ain't going to try and go head to head with it because I'm interested in seeing what happens in it. And of course, we're going to have to cover it at WrestlePurists because I'm sure some pretty significant announcements are going to be happening at that press conference. So, like I said, try not to clash with that. And, we'll probably we'll do like I don't want to call it a preview, but like we'll do some predictions or something. But obviously, this is the AEW Dynamite review show, so that is obviously the main topic of the day. But yeah, man, I do think Ibu did kind of get a bit nervous and ran away when he saw the live chat. For anybody who's going to be listening to this a bit later on, our live chat currently is completely filled with #Cody Crybabies, #Cody Crybabies, and all that kind of stuff because it's Dwight. I think the Rock literally said it on Pat McAfee less than an hour ago, half an hour ago, something.
He said a lot of things on that show.
He did say a lot of things, and we'll get into that, and we'll get into, like I said, the actual the press conference a bit later. But we will be starting with the AEW Dynamite review. But firstly, we're going to do some. Let's have a look at some super chats. We've got a couple. Do keep them coming, people. Whilst we are awaiting Ibu, but we are going to dive straight into the Dynamite review with or without him. Anurag, 100 rupees, appreciate you. Hot take. Swerve versus Swank, man. I was about to call him then. I don't even know what that would mean. Swerve versus Hangman. Time limit draw match dragged for me, and he's the second worst time limit draw in AEW. Worst of the trilogy, but it's still great. It's Sting, AEW SM show. AEW's. I'm not sure what that's. I'm not sure what he's getting at there, but yeah. I guess that would be a hot take on Swerve Hangman. I haven't seen that opinion too much. Where, like you said he felt like it dragged. I would agree that it is the worst of the trilogy, but using the word "worst" is kind of it's a weird one, as you mentioned in the super chat. It's still great though. So the term "worst" is kind of weird, but it's the one that I like the least out of the three. But we'll get into it a bit later when we actually review the match very shortly because it did open the show. Bam, $7, appreciate you. #Cody Crybabies, #People's Champion, #We Want Cody versus Roman, #We Want Rock, #High Rules, #$7. and we appreciate that. $7. Bam, very much as always. Frank199, appreciate you. Hashtag we want Rocky. Hashtag drive. Hashtag hashtag mana. Hashtag Zoa. Hey man.
Wow.
Many are saying these things. To say Rose 499, appreciate you as always. Why is Ibu hiding? We Cody fans have to be present, not like those crybabies. I've been telling him this in the DMs, like ever since he's disappeared since last Friday. Like, bro, the Cody fans, the universe, they're all stepping up right now. They're getting hashtags going. Some of them are being embarrassing, hence the hashtag Cody Crybabies term even existing in the first place. But Ibu hasn't been there, and many people look at Ibu as one of the more present online Twitter fans of Cody Rhodes, and when he needs him the most, he's disappeared, Joe.
So I think what you're saying, if I'm picking up what you're putting down here, is that it's actually Ibu's fault because his poor leadership has sparked some very bad tweets. Is that what you're suggesting? Because that makes sense to me.
I do think it would be fair, if you interpreted it like that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I did interpret that because you're right.
fair,
I mean, they need him right now, right? The loyal American nightmare.
It's been him, bro. I swear.
And he's not there for them in a time of need. So that's a good call. I hadn't thought of it that way. Maybe tonight's press conference will bring him kind of back in the forefront. Maybe, just maybe. Time will tell, folks. Time will tell. Is that the way we're covering this? Like it's deadline day. Like it is trade deadline day.
It kind of like it's today's the day, isn't it?
I guess so. Yeah.
It's
the absolute nerve, by the way, of having 5 hours of main roster TV and then making me tune in for a press conference to know what the fuck's going on.
It's criminal.
It really is.
It's not even like you can be like, oh well, they're just going to announce X. Because it's like the intrigue is because people genuinely don't know what the fuck is going on, bro. And it's like, normally not knowing is like a good thing in the sense of like it keeps you, on the edge of your seat. Whereas this is different. This is just like the reaction I've seen is just kind of confusion. Like people are just confused, bro. They're just hoping that to be less confused by the end of today. So.
It's a situation where almost all of the scenarios that are on the table, there's a flaw to almost all of them, right? It's like, we'll make our predictions here a little later, but there's not a scenario that to me is like, yeah, that one has no potential issue or problem. They're all kind of weird and quirky, so it's gonna be quite the day. It certainly seems that way anyway.
Short on Spurs, $7. Appreciate it. Jake Brand, $4.99. Appreciate you. Great Dynamite starting with Swerve versus Hangman had me locked in. As an aside, Ibu, hope you're doing well.
Ibu is doing well. We should know that because there are people that are worried about Ibu, and he's actually like entirely fine. He's just not tweeting.
Well,
Feels important.
I mean, that's what you say. Darren Cage, $1.99. Appreciate it. The Rock cooked my ass. Not gonna lie. That's what he does.
That was a moment, wasn't it? Like watching Dwayne go through the gears on that shtick that he had prepared was an adventure.
Mazfan 84 $1.99. Thoughts on AEW 2024 so far? It has been fire. What is it? 5 weeks in? Strong start. It's definitely been a strong start. I think this past episode last night was the best episode thus far in 2024. And some people say you're only as good as your last show, so not bad.
True.
Definitely not a bad start for AEW, to say the least.
I definitely think this is, easily the most consistent they've been since they've had the Collision show also, right? Because there was like a while there where you kind of liked one or the other maybe, but I think this is, for 2024 thus far, again, early days, I think both shows have been really good mostly. While still feeling slightly different. So, and even Rampage has had some good stuff, right? So, yeah, I think they've made a really strong start to 2024. And that's especially notable because historically, I've found this part of their calendar to be kind of flat because they have such a long road to Revolution, And instead, it's feeling pretty eventful. Like, there's a couple of weeks that were a little lower in kind of newsworthy stuff. But yeah, they're in a really good spot right now, it feels like. So hopefully it continues.
Yeah, it seems like they're going from strength to strength as well, because Revolution, of course, as we know, is tickets are selling very well for that. Sting's retirement in Greensboro, it's got the people moving. And then, of course, you got Mercedes' debut, assumably coming up, pretty much as good as confirmed. It's even reported now. So it's a very, very, very good start to the year for All Elite Wrestling. Hush 199, appreciate you. Hollywood Rock Tees, I'm interested. Hey man, a few people have been calling for it. Caden Lee 199, appreciate it as always. Cody's kind of the real CM Punk, to be honest. I mean,
It's very layered. That could the real CM Punk could mean like 8 different things depending on who you ask. So I would say no, but I mean, yeah, it really depends on what your read on that. What that means is really, it's pretty loaded at this point.
And you're like 40 rupees, appreciate you. Dragon feuding with Zack Sabre Jr. Eddie Kingston, CMLL at the same time. He's a busy guy.
He sure is. He's just finding people to fight, really. That's kind of Brian's gimmick at this point, right? Finding dudes that he could have an issue with and have a wrestling match with. Works for me.
Yeah. Same. Andy, 100 rupees. Cody's promising to unify the belts with Seth as step one. This will channel the energy towards the World Heavyweight Championship. Hate it, but they want to have their cake and eat it. I mean, it's quite the prediction. I don't know.
Poor old Seth Freakin'. He's really. I mean, the Seth Freakin' part is really the story within the story here, isn't it? I mean, what a fascinating place that belt finds itself in. Unique.
Indeed. Last super chat for now before we just go straight into this AEW Dynamite review. So, Hush 199, appreciate it. Y'all think Rock versus Cody is in the cards post WrestleMania? I don't know.
I don't.
I'm just. I don't know. I've kind of like gave up at this because the press conference is hours away at this point, so I don't have any kind of like strong guesses at this point.
You just thrown the towel in. You just said, yeah. I'll watch it when it happens. Fuck it.
Basically, yeah.
Fair.
That's where I'm at.
That's fair.
In terms of like how it's actually going to play out at Mania, so who knows, man. I think there's absolutely a chance that people are still confused coming out of this, But Cody did put on his Instagram story that he's made his decision. So
yeah, it's nice of him. I personally thought he'd made his decision after the Rumble, but I was obviously
when he very passionately
yeah, I thought it was pretty apparent.
And pointed at Roman Reigns. I thought
we were wrong, brother. We were wrong. We need to follow the product better.
That's something I do want to get into as well, which is, I think, I don't know. I think it's kind of more of a devil's advocate thing, but I'll throw it around later if I remember.
Okay.
I'm going to put.
God, notes are being made, folks. We got a format in front of us.
All right, let's go straight into this AEW Dynamite review, man. Still waiting on Ibu, but he's just. You know what he's like with timekeeping. The WrestlePurists loyalists, they absolutely know already. But anyway, started off hot, Joe. We started off hot with the number one contenders match for the AEW World Championship for a shot at AEW Revolution. This was Swerve Strickland versus Hangman Adam Page. Both men undefeated in 2024 thus far, and the number 1 and 2 contenders in the AEW men's division. And where do I even start with this? Results-wise, of course, as everyone probably already knows, time limit draw, went the whole 30 minutes, and honestly felt like someone said in the super chat earlier, but it felt like it dragged. I actually felt it kind of went. No, I don't want to say it flew by. Like it was a 30-minute match, but to me, it didn't feel like it was dragging along that much. But like I said earlier, I do agree that it was probably the third best of the trilogy thus far, although it was still a very, very great match. I liked how I kind of like the pacing. Speaking of it dragging and stuff like that, I kind of like the pacing, especially like kind of early on when they were kind of like you could see that obviously this is like in the third match where you can see like certain counters that they have for each other's stuff and things like that. Like it's clearly two people that know each other's moveset and stuff like that. So yeah, it was good, and of course, kind of Hangman Adam Page slowly losing it throughout the match, and Swerve in this setting was absolutely basically the babyface of the match. To be honest, the crowd picked who they wanted to get behind as the babyface, and it seems to be the direction that they're going in long term with these two as well. So yeah, a really good match. Joe Hall to start Dynamite, probably one of the better AEW Dynamites so far in the first 5-6 weeks of the year. So yeah, man,
Yeah.
I like this a lot. Joe, what did you make of it, mate?
I loved it, man. And the thing is, too, is it was kind. And I wouldn't say it was kind of climbing uphill for me, but I think when it was opener, especially, it was pretty apparent they were going to do this finish. So whenever that's the case, you kind of mentally adjust and like you're almost looking for those pacing issues and such. I think there was a slight one which we'll get to later, but generally speaking, I loved this match. Their chemistry, and that's one of the beautiful things about wrestling, right? Is you never know which guys are going to totally connect. Like, oh, I'm not surprised that Hangman and Swerve have had good matches, but I am surprised they appear to be like total wrestling soulmates for one another and having these classic encounters. They're absolutely made for each other, and they're fascinating to watch. And I think in a weird way, this match was where that chemistry was most apparent because the first match you had the Swerve hometown crowd, right? And it had a certain feel to it. The second match was not really about chemistry so much as it was bloodbath. Here was almost at times like the kind of match that they'd have taken around the globe once upon a time. This was like a more ordinary look at their match. And if this is their take on ordinary, I think you get a pretty good idea of how special this dynamic is. That kind of wonderful seesaw rhythm. They leaned into Hangman being the in-ring heel, as you mentioned, post-match really confirmed that direction. The only thing I would say is I do think the match peaked at the DDT on the barricade. The match at that point was like, but when I say it's peaked, I mean it dropped from a 10 to a 9 after that. I mean, I really don't have anything to critique about it beyond. Like, it's a 30-minute match. They're hard to do as TV openers, it goes without saying. But yeah, wonderful match. And I think we already are seeing here something that we've talked about a lot in terms of heel Hangman, the way his game really is built to translate very, very well to that role because he's so physical and so aggressive. It's natural, right? So yeah, this was a home run. This was great TV, I thought.
Yeah, like you say, it probably did peak like just before the end and stuff, and it kind of did carry on and stuff. But like with the death match that they had, we spoke about it. Like it felt like the match would have peaked, then it would peak down a little bit. Then you'd be like, okay, it didn't peak because you'd find a new peak in the match. But I think with this match, because they had to go to a time limit draw, and the wrestling knowing that, it's hard to wrap it up in that sense. So, although I do agree, of course, that around about the barricade spot, the DDT on the barricade, because that did look. Some of the moves in this match as well, just even to like just the dives to the outside, like there was one where like Swerve just literally just like kneed Hangman in the back of the head.
Yeah, this was very much like the best of Swerve in that it's like he's a very innovative guy, but the biggest challenge I think, and something that we've seen him get better and better at, especially as he's bulked up, is like making sure that the innovation is not at the expense of physicality, right? You still want the stuff to land with snap. That's when he's at his best. And I thought that was really the case here. Like, and again, that's where that chemistry comes in. Like Hangman really brings that kind of, he forces Swerve to up the physicality because Hangman clobbers you in there, right? So yeah, they've got a special dynamic, man. This is the kind of thing that you go back to over and over and over again. This is it's money, clearly.
And let's talk about the finish. So it did go to a time limit draw. I'd say I wasn't exactly a big fan of Swerve basically getting the visual pin over Hangman in those in the closing seconds, and obviously if the match would have continued, the assumption is that Swerve would have beat him again. Swerve's already beat Hangman twice. I don't think we need a visual pin of him beating him again. You know, especially when you're trying to establish him as another contender for this triple threat match, which obviously is now official, because Swerve wanted to make the point, go 5 more minutes with Hangman after the bell rung for the 30-minute time limit draw. But Hangman, in very heelish fashion, like I said, he was slowly losing it throughout the course of this match. And throughout the course of this feud with Swerve, he has slowly been losing it, you know, and it kind of all, I won't say all completely boiled over. I think there will be another significant moment where Hangman really does just like turn completely, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But this was pretty much going in that direction. You know, he refused to go the extra 5 minutes. Seemed pretty pleased with himself about that, even though the crowd obviously wasn't happy about it. And as he was walking up the ramp, very pleased with himself, Tony Schiavone gets on the mic and says, "I got Tony Khan in my ear," and he is telling me that no, it is official. You are not done with Swerve, Hangman, Adam Page, because at Revolution it will be a triple threat match for the AEW World Championship: Samoa Joe versus Hangman versus Swerve Strickland. So that's the match. Hangman did not seem happy about this at all, in very heelish fashion again. And yeah, man, there it is. Official for AEW Revolution. Triple threat match, Joe. 3-way match. What are you thinking?
Mm-hmm.
You excited? And again, what did you think of the actual execution after finish?
So I liked it because of the specific direction they're going in. You know, like I think your point works in a vacuum, but I liked it in this particular case because it was a way to accelerate Hangman's kind of decline and like he's kind of losing the plot. The other reason I like the finish is my going into this, I kind of thought that, um, I thought that Swerve was going to win the belt Revolution. That was my read on the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Swerve getting the kind of actually that visual pin here. It's like I'm increasingly unsure that Swerve's actually winning the belt Revolution, which is great. Right now, we're in a situation where I could talk myself into Hangman kind of getting in Swerve's way and Joe escaping with that belt. Which before, and like we've talked about this a lot, I did not previously consider that to be an option. I also think a real option now that we've gone in this direction with Hangman is that Hangman wins the belt and Swerve chases a babyface. So the way they came out of this match, I actually thought added a great deal of doubt to what happens at Revolution. Whereas if Hangman had got the kind of upper hand here, I'd be looking at that more as like an evening of the playing field before Swerve gets the belt. So all that to say, I'm not a huge fan of triple threat matches. I think this particular one has like serious juice. I think this one actually packs a punch. And of course, it benefits from the fact it's on the same show as Sting's retirement. So that show's already paid for in that sense. But I'm into it for sure. I think it's a very compelling situation here.
So, don't you think that they still could have pulled off the way that Hangman reacted and turned down the 5 minutes and stuff without having Swerve visually pin him?
I don't know, because to me, the reason he was so pissed off was because Swerve had just proven that he didn't actually need to cheat to beat him, you know? Because remember, that was the big thing, right? The only reason he's beat me is he's cheating. And then by the end of the match, Hangman had kind of realized if that bell goes 1 second later, that excuse I have is gone. You know, that's the way I took it anyway. I thought that was kind of a necessary way to accelerate Hangman losing his mind. To me, anyway. I don't know.
And to confuse you even more, I think Hangman's winning, and I thought Hangman was winning from when it was becoming more clear that he was getting put into the match, if that makes sense. Because, like I said, Swerve's already beaten him twice, so it's like if you're going to keep him around in this story, there has to be some sort of like, there needs to be some give somewhere, Joe. I do think there's a very good chance that Hangman walks out of Revolution with the belt, and the story becomes more like, you know, because if Swerve wins the belt, then like Hangman chasing him as well now is like,
Yeah.
bro, he's pinned you twice. He's visually pinned you in a time limit draw, and he's beat you in a triple threat match. Whether he pins him or not is obviously up to question. But if that is the scenario, then it's like, whereas if Hangman wins it, Swerve has every reason and justification for going for the belt and stuff, and you don't really need to build him up as a challenger. And here is Ibu of WrestlePurists. He's back with us. He's joining us for the first time since we were live. Ibu, you good? You all right?
Yeah, I guess.
You don't sound it, bro.
I don't know, man. I'm here. I'm ready to review this AEW Dynamite. Really good show. Really strong episode.
It was, yeah, man.
Yeah. Just a lot of good variety. A tremendous crowd from Phoenix, Arizona, and a lot of cool stuff throughout the night. So I'm excited to get into it. I know you guys are talking about the Hangman situation. Just quick thoughts on that. Quick 2 cents. I thought the opener was excellent, of course, and the big thing that stood out to me, to be honest with you, beyond the wrestling, is just the heat. It was just so heated.
Yeah,
Like
man.
these people were excited for this. They were into this, and they wanted to love it because they're starting out. They're just doing, they're just going through the gears in the beginning there, and the crowd is chanting AEW and holy shit and whose house, Swerve's house, and also staggering was noticing just how over Swerve was in comparison to Hangman Page. These fans decided they just like Swerve, and it's crazy because when this thing initially started, it wasn't that the intention was not to do a double turn of any kind. It was just to get Swerve at a main event level and to adjust Hangman's character because the people that were in of influence and creative in AEW felt that Hangman kind of lost his edge and he was very much the mopey guy who was feeling sorry for himself, and so they kind of wanted to reposition him as a strong character. And so him being obsessed with revenge on Swerve was supposed to be that was supposed to achieve. But now we find ourselves in a situation where the fans just like Swerve and they see Hangman as like almost a whiner for just wanting revenge on this guy. It actually reminds me of Steve Austin and Bret Hart because all of Bret's gripes with Steve Austin were valid and justified. And Steve Austin's a terrible person, but as that feud wore on, the people just wanted Steve. So we'll see how this thing evolves when it comes to Hangman's character evolution. Like, if he goes full on heel, that's kind of I don't know how I feel about that. But the match was excellent. I thought just the end of that match, Swerve's promo asking for 5 more minutes, the crowd wanting it, Hangman turning it down, Shivani announcing the three-way, and then the Joe promo was electric television. That entire stretch was just super hot. Yeah, the whole thing came off pretty epic, and I'm on board with the direction.
Yeah, man. Joe, I think you tweeted it yesterday. Like, it just felt alive.
Yeah.
Like all those things that you just laid out. Obviously, we haven't got to the Samoa Joe backstage promo yet. We'll quickly touch on it now because it's not like it was an extended one, but he was pissed. Samoa Joe, the big man, he was pissed, and he vows that he will be walking out of Revolution still the AEW World Champion. Of course, Samoa Joe promo. Don't think I've ever complained about one, Joe Hall,
Yeah, and the reason I used that kind of description for what this episode felt like was when they went to the break after the match. I'm like, I kind of mentally made a note of like they should come back with a Joe promo here because if this was real, he would be the first guy that they would be going to ask about why the hell he's in a triple threat now, and that's the way I think wrestling TV should always try to think. Like the logic of wrestling TV would be, who is the next guy whose reaction when you see this triple threat? It's the third man.
Yes, you need an immediate response to what just transpired.
Right. And I do think there are versions of Dynamite in the past which, while we may have loved them, would have been much slower to tick that box, and it's like,
Joe,
it isn't complicated, bro. Just give Joe time to talk and it's going to be great. What are you going to say? Sorry.
No, you're fine. There's stretches where like you wouldn't get Joe's reaction until a pre-tape on Rampage.
Right. And it's like, that's a case of where if you just position your talent in a traditional manner, it's like, we're going to give Joe promo time here. He's more than capable of figuring out for himself what he needs to do with that because it's very easy, right? Like, we could have all guessed what he was going to do. He was going to be mad about it. And he got a tremendous promo, was fired up. And it's like, you put a kind of, you end that block of the show. I think it was like 40 minutes of the show, I guess it probably was, that point of entrances and stuff. And it's like, you're left kind of, even as I don't think any of us are huge fans of triple threats in general, but it's hard not to be intrigued by the way they've set this thing up, right? They've actually really done a strong build for this. So they're in a nice spot with the main event for sure.
Yep.
Or the title match, I should say.
Yeah, I was going to say that this ain't the main event. We know what the main event of Greensboro, North Carolina is going to be.
Yeah, I think you're right. Uber. All right, so time limit draw, Samoa Joe reacts, and then we have Tony Storm versus Red Velvet. Not the most envious of spots to be put in on a weekly wrestling TV show following a 30-minute time limit draw, which was obviously great as we've just got into this very much brought us back down to earth. But it wasn't bad or anything like that. It was just, and Tony even wrestled. There wasn't as much like shtick and stuff like that. I think it was one of the main things that people noticed about this match. So there was even some positives in this. Deonna Purrazzo was on commentary. After the match, Tony and Deonna came face to face. I believe it's official now that Deonna will be facing Toni Storm at AEW Revolution in Greensboro. So, yeah, man, like I said, it wasn't quite the 30-minute time limit draw, but this was nice. But what did you think?
I thought it was fine. It's just point A, point B wrestling television. Storm, she did look a bit better than normal because she kind of toned down the stick. And what's been happening is it's a work in progress of her trying to figure out the style that fits the gimmick. And now she's kind of like she's just doing the whole like technical thing and the British style of wrestling. And Red Velvet she's a very sound wrestler. She's very reliable. Yes. Very good in these 6-minute TV shots, and so it was just just very solid, just very solid wrestler. You can rely on her to just kind of come in there and be snug and lay her shit in a bit and just have a good wrestling match. And so this is totally fine. Deonna was on commentary, just kind of talking, and that was kind of that random thing that if I was still on Twitter, I would have tweeted. This is just a super innocuous random thought, but Luther in this role, he looks like, and someone would have to Google this to know what I'm talking about because it is an obscure reference. He looks like the father from Kenan and Kel, where he has these kind of glasses and he's bald and he has these big bug eyes. He just looks like I believe his name was Ken Rockmore, the father of Kenan in the show. But yeah, this is totally fine. Joe, can I see you stir it up for us? Could you stir it up?
No, absolutely.
All right, never mind. Gotcha. All right.
It's too early, bro. It's like 7 p.m. Usually I'm doing these shows like midnight. Maybe I'll stir it up on Worldwide. We'll see.
Oh, let's go.
We'll see. Maybe. Red Velvet's like really kind of awesome,
Yes.
She throws these like body punches and
yes.
like her work's kind of like it's kind of up and down. Like I'm not saying she's like the most. She can definitely have moments where her offense is spotty, but when she's on, I do think she's like genuinely awesome. So I would like to see her get like something creatively because her role, it feels like for the longest, has just been. I know she came up from injury recently, but like before that even, it was like someone they plug in to lose a TV match. Love to see her get a chance to kind of do something more creatively, but I actually thought this was noteworthy, even if not like a great match. It was a nice match, but I thought it was noteworthy because Tony's style, I did think she approached this differently. Like, Ibu's right about it's kind of been a trend with the technical style, but it felt like she was more aggressive here to me. It felt like she was more like down to it and kind of direct with her work. And I think that's encouraging because I think her and Deonna Purrazzo can actually have a really good wrestling match. So as a fan of Deonna in particular, I was kind of encouraged by what Tony looked like here in terms of the way she approached the match, the intensity of her work. I thought this was a good sign. I'm cautiously optimistic about this Deonna pay-per-view match. And I say cautiously because I think they could make a mistake in terms of overly card placement, but also overly emphasizing the babyface heel dynamic. If they put together a match where Deonna's going to take a long control segment, where Tony's going to take a long control segment, I think that's a mistake because the people want to cheer.
Always
they want to cheer Tony. Yeah, they want to cheer Tony, and especially against Deonna, that's a mistake. If they do a kind of back and forth grappling match, I think it'd be pretty damn cool, honestly. So hopefully it comes out well.
All right, yeah. Toni Storm, Deonna Purrazzo. Toni Storm did not let go of the submission on poor Red Velvet, thus making Deonna Purrazzo get in the ring to kind of split it up, and they went face to face. Toni Storm. What did she do to Deonna Purrazzo? Like, she didn't kiss her. She didn't know what. What was that face to face?
She smelled both sides of her neck and kind of circled that neck area with her nose, and got about as close as you could get without kissing somebody.
Alright. So she got sniffed. Okay.
Demos have to be earned, sir. I guess you gotta do what you gotta do.
Anyway. Orange Cassidy backstage interview. He's asked about his upcoming collision match with Ishii. Very excited about that one. It kind of goes a little bit awkward. I've seen a few people speculating about potentially Roppongi Vice, Trent Beretta, Rocky Romero turning heel. Joe, what would you make of that, mate?
Well, I think on one of these shows we've done in the last 10 years, I pitched it at some point, but I may be making that up. I think I did.
I think I
don't
remember
know.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I swear I did. Not to say they've stolen it from me. I think this is where they're always going. I just think I stumbled into a correct prediction for once. So
I think
I
they
love
stole
it.
it from
I
you,
mean,
Joe.
yeah, me too. When when Rocky Romero was on Worldwide, which is a really good show you should watch on WrestlePurists, he talked about how he would love a kind of, a chance to have a more substantial, like kind of proper run on AEW TV. And I think as a heel tag team, Roppongi Vice, like you're trying to rebuild that division and try to put those pieces, but having Roppongi Vice to work with a top flight, like
Ooh.
that'd be huge, like that's such a good team. So yeah, I think that would be a positive for the division, to be honest, because I don't know what the depth chart currently looks like. I haven't got it in front of me, believe it or not, but when Rocky Romero and Trent Beretta is a serious team. So
You
I'd
don't
like
have
to
your,
see
you
that.
don't have your
Even
own
if they have a few heel tag teams, it's like how many of them would be better than them two? It's tough.
Joe, you mean to tell me you don't have your Arn Anderson Waffle House menu in front of you with the?
I don't. Not today. No. But it's
playbook.
The playbook.
So obviously the Bucks are the top heel team,
right?
and then I don't think Bill and Ricky are going to be a team necessarily moving forward.
I don't think they're long for this world, to be honest with you.
Yeah, me. So at that point, it's like I don't know who would be next to the Guns, who are just sort of they're going to be back to being heels soon, I'm sure, but. I don't know. It's an interesting one, but I'd like to see Rocky Romero on TV regardless of role or anything. So I'm for it.
We'll see how it plays out. All right, before we continue, do a few super chats. Keep them coming. Just Simon 419, $5 Canadian. Hey folks, great coverage as always. Hanger vs 12 was excellent, and call me Mr. X Files because I want to believe. Hashtag we want Cody. Appreciate ya. Andy 100 rupees, appreciate it as always. Annoyed at the booking of Cody, but when there's confusion with WWE, apply Occam Razor. They're too risk averse. It'll be Rock versus Reigns and Seth versus Cody. Well, we'll see, man. We're making these strong predictions. I think that's your second one now on this whole situation, Andy, where you're making these strong stances on what you think's going to happen.
Andy feels real wrong about the situation.
He is, and Dwayne The Rock Johnson, he's got a lot of people moving plans around. Look what we're doing. We're streaming it 10 minutes to 8.
It's disgusting. It is disgusting.
I will confess something, Joe. So last night when the video dropped of Rock coming out of the airplane and then going, long game. Oh no, he said signed your long gamer. I sent this to Monty. And I said, I am terrified of this man's power. It just feels like he has too much power for one man.
Yeah.
Because he can wrestle and do the on-screen stuff, but he has business power, with Ari Emanuel and this guy and that guy. And it just feels like he could do anything he wants.
He's a very scary fella at this point, to me. Very scary.
When you have that much power, you can get people killed. You know what I mean? And
hold on.
I don't know. Nick Khan knows where Kevin Dunn is. You know what I mean? It's just a little spooky.
Muddy's King 499, appreciate you as always. Booking a draw instead of picking a winner felt cowardly and safe from Booker of the Year. We know what will happen in Triple Threat. Joe wins.
Well, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I gotta say, I think that's the least likely result, to be honest with you. So we'll see. I could be completely wrong, folks. I know Joe's got to do the Twisted Metal gimmick soon, but I think he's dropping that belt here pretty damn soon. We'll see.
Mr. X Files, $2. Joe doesn't need a long run, in my opinion. I want Swerve.
I never need a long run, if we're being real. I ain't really built for that kind of thing, but.
I do wish we could have gotten a John Moxley Samoa Joe thing, But
yeah,
there's only one title reign. It's very rare that someone wins a belt or is about to win a belt or something. Where I think he should hold this for, 9, 12, 16, 18, 24 months or anything like that.
Cody Rhodes,
However,
the main belt.
However, there is two at the moment. I think if Cody Rhodes does finish his story, I think his subsequent title reign should be obviously pretty substantial following that. I don't think it needs to be like 365 days or anything, but it needs to be substantial. I think he should still be champion at SummerSlam and defend it at SummerSlam, etc., etc. And I think once you get a world title on Gunther, I think you should continue his basically air of dominance every every title belt that he touches, basically. So that's kind of why I'm not super like rushing to see Gunther win the belt immediately, because I do think there is some like, you could have Drew take it off Seth, then you have Sammy take it off Drew, then Gunther beats Sammy, and that way you can tick quite a few boxes there of who people you want to have reigns throughout this year or the next 18 months, and then when you get to Gunther, it's a wrap, it's a wrap because that's what happens when Gunther gets a belt, So, but anyone else, I'm pretty much the same as Joe, where it's just like, hold it for a couple months, on to the next one. It's all case by case. Yeah,
yeah.
There you go.
You don't want to be locked into like this guy is going to hold it for 8 months, because if someone gets red hot at month 5, you could just flip the belt. Like it's not, you shouldn't be held hostage by those things.
The best way to book is to have vague penciled in ideas about what you're going to do.
Yes.
But not be locked, not be like absolutely stuck to them, because that's dangerous.
Don't be beholden, but also don't have nothing, in mind.
Yeah, I will say to your earlier point, and obviously we're biased, but whatever. I do think it would have been nice to get one more Joe Detour in there for a title defense, but whatever. Like I think it's cool the way they've built this match. They might. I think it's time's kind of dwindling on that, but but they could still do it. They have 3 shows a week. They could easily just have someone call him out in a promo. It could happen.
Or just throw up a graphic of him versus Shingo or some shit. Just throw it all. But yeah, man. And you're like 40 rupees. Appreciate you, as always. Rankings wise, Swerve is still number 1. So why the triple threat? Well, here's the thing. The match last night was specifically to decide who the number 1 contender for the Revolution match was going to be. And the match was a draw. Thus, there was no winner. Thus, technically, no clear number 1 contender for Revolution, specifically. Hence why Tony Khan got on the earpiece to Tony Schiavone and made it a 3-way. I thought they were going to make it like an extra 5 minutes, and Hangman was going to win, and there was going to be like more of a even more of a solid like heel turn, because I did think there was a possibility that Swerve didn't make it to the title match at Revolution, and we're going to do Hangman versus Samoa Joe. Because like I said, Joe, I think Hangman's walking out of Revolution with the belt, man.
You're very
I
convinced.
think he's walking out with the belt. I'm convincing myself as we're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're kind of convincing me too, to be fair. It's interesting. I don't know.
I think Swerve is actually the least likely to walk out with the belt. Genuinely.
The double turn thing definitely changes. It changes a lot. Like, because you're right. If they are going in that direction where Swerve is the babyface and Hangman's the heel, which is certainly how it felt here, you can't really have Hangman lose at the pay-per-view and then chases it. It just doesn't work. So yeah, you might be right, honestly. It'd be interesting.
And I won't be mad at Hangman winning the belt. Swerve taking it off Hangman. It kind of writes itself. I wouldn't be mad at any of that. And I think it would help people, if that is the direction they're going in with Swerve, it would help people get behind him even more than they already are. They could even start their own fucking, not We Want Cody, but their own kind of phenomenon, because he already is kind of on such a strong trajectory at the moment, And Hangman can get some good heat on him. Help him in terms of just getting that kind of heat on him. Then, Swerve will only. I think Swerve would only be in a stronger position when he eventually does beat Hangman for the title, if that's what they do. So, I'm
with it. I'm with it for sure. I get it.
Just Simon. Sorry, Mr. X-Files. Changing my name to Mr. X-Files. Thank you, Montel. nearly missed it up then. Maddie's King 199. What about Gunther's face run redundancy risk? In my opinion, I won't even consider that at this moment in time. Samganda Chonko 35 Tsar Ibu. What we think of Breakker on Raw? I'm over the whole Cody versus Rock versus Roman stuff. Gunther versus Braun Breaker is my only hope for WrestleMania. Rhea versus Becky will also cook.
Thank you for the super chat, Samganda. Well, here's the thing. Braun Breaker on Raw faced off with Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci. And what Triple H likes to do with his booking style is he'll overtly hint at the direct next thing, and then like the chapter after he'll like hint at it, right? So the Braun stare down appears to mean that he is Gunther's follow-up after Jey Uso. So it's looking, at least, I mean, that's the only indication we have of Gunther's WrestleMania match. And I mean, at the end of the day, Gunther was going to face Brock Lesnar. And so far, Braun Breaker's been slotted in what Brock Lesnar was going to do. So we'll see. We shall see. He didn't officially sign a Raw contract on the TV show. He was mulling it over. And this guy, Pierce, is like, we have all the protections. I put everything you asked for in there. I'll match anything Aldis says. Da 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 da. And Braun's like, all right. So we'll see some guy. I wouldn't be opposed to a Braun Breaker match at WrestleMania against Gunther. I think it'd be pretty tremendous.
Yeah, man. Excited to see what happens with him. Showtime Spurs, $5. Appreciate it. Joe versus Toa Leona in Eliminator on dark Saturday evening. Greater than. Hey, man.
Let's fucking
stuck
go.
Stuck in Toa Leona is high at the moment, people. You know? So.
Yeah. I actually saw them when I saw Rampage. They did a tag. It was War Joe versus Gates of Agony.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. And Joe was definitely like, he had his eyes set on Big Toe. He said, "Let's take it easy, brother. This is Atlantic City. It's a slim house. Let's not get carried away out there." That's the most contained I've ever seen Toa Leona wrestle, actually. So maybe we'll see.
All right, back to Dynamite, by the way. Blackpool Combat Club defeats the CMLL trio of Hechicero, Valador Jr. and Mascara Dorada. Fun match. And I kind of like the direction this is going in with this kind of warfare between the Blackpool Combat Club and CMLL. Where's you?
I think he's like mildly injured.
Yeah, because it's like you've got Daddy Magic and Christopher Daniels, and they're coming out as quote as commentary put Team AEW, and it's like Blackpool Combat Club do have like another member, you know. So you'd expect him to be one of the first people out there. So I do think I don't know if he's heard that. I don't know if that's just something that it's not me. Like I think last week
I'm pretty sure he's mildly injured.
Yeah, like last week I was like, yeah, Julia Hart's injured. But when I'm searching it up, nowhere's like actually reported this. I can't remember if someone's told me this. I couldn't remember if someone told it me in the DMs or something like that. And it's just something that now I've got in my head that seems to make sense. So I don't know if that's what you're doing as well, but it's like I don't know where he is. I don't know where he is, and I still don't know where Julia Hart is. I guess I should probably ask around a bit more about her. So
yeah, where is Julia?
Champ, you know,
that's actually.
I think I'm sure I heard somewhere, or someone told me, or somewhere reported something regarding a Julia Hart injury. But like I said, I wouldn't put it out there, like reporting it sort of thing, because I'm even prefacing it right now, saying I can't even remember where I've heard this from. It's just maybe someone was just full of shit, you know. We'll ask around, you know.
Yeah, this CMLL deal is cool. They I'm all for interpromotional rivalries and stuff like that. It's the backbone of Japanese wrestling, at least it was for a long time, and still is to a degree. But that actual like just feistiness of like team spirit from different companies is great, and that's the one thing that the New Japan AEW thing didn't have, because it was like New Japan is a babyface to the AEW audience because like they're familiar with the top New Japan guys, and it's almost like a big happy, glorious, joyous celebration of wrestling when they convened with AEW to throw these shows together. And I'm not saying that these CMLL guys are walking in and the fans are like, who the fuck are these people? It's not like they're not like, get off my AEW, Mox, take care of this motherfucker. Like, they're not doing that. However, there is animosity, at least between the parties themselves, and it results in really, really cool stuff. I didn't even think this match was all that, to be honest with you, and I'm the CMLL guy, but I just love the spirit of it, and I like the direction that they're going in, because, you know, last week or was it the week before, you did the Radicals angle where they kind of like were fighting with the guys from the crowd, and then they did the invasion, so to speak. I think AEW should go even further with this, and I think that these CMLL guys should score a couple major victories, I think, along the way. Bryan Danielson, I think, is liable to do a job because he's very unselfish, and he's already given a lot to Hechicero, who he just can't guard Monty when they're on the floor.
Yeah, that's what everyone keeps saying. I think Manny tweeted it. Our friend Kiwi tweeted it.
Danielson
You can't guard him.
He can't guard him. He's too big on the post. You know, when he gets that ball in the post, Danielson can't box it. He can't do nothing on him. He'll put it up, get the rebound over Danielson, dunk on him. It's bad. They had to sub him out, you know. But yeah, I just love the overall direction of this interpromotional thing. Like I said, I'd like a major victory or two to happen from this on behalf of the CMLL guys. I think what you want to do with these types of things is make it clear on commentary that, like, Tony Khan doesn't approve of the CMLL guys who were invited to a show, basically acting out of turn and fighting with the BCC guys, and he was going to essentially cease the partnership as a result of this type of thing. But, you know, maybe you say like John Moxley or someone said, no, it's fine, we can make this a thing, something like that, to make it suggest that, like, because otherwise invasion angles are inherently a little silly. You get what I'm saying? But if you make an organized competition, so to speak, where the AEW guys are like, nah, fuck that. They think they're better than us. Let them come back in our house, and we'll see what happens there. You just kind of make that clear in commentary. It'd be great. But yeah, I'm a fan of all this. Mascara Dorada, the youngest and greenest wrestler here, showed out. Generally speaking, he does a lot of really cool, impressive things, and he got over with the live crowd. And so shout out to him. Ringside was Star Jr. and Esfinge with Mystico. Star Jr. was a part of that tag that I was raving about to you guys. It was Star Jr., Mystico and Atlantis Jr. versus Andrade, Angel de Oro, and Soberano Jr. Star Jr. is a young up-and-coming guy. He's very good. Esfinge is a preliminary talent. He's okay. But keep an eye out for Star Jr. So, yeah, cool stuff.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Like you said, I'm a big fan of the direction, the energy of these. But yeah, the match itself, it was pretty decent. I don't think it was anything crazy. But yeah, man. Joe, what did you make of the trios match?
I liked it a lot. I do agree. Like, you know, I think this is the kind of match where if they did this exact same match next week, it would be immediately better just by familiarity, you know. Yeah. But it was still, I thought, as a piece of TV, I thought there was like a real novelty to this. It had a very distinct Nitro feel, right? Yeah. Like in the way that it came together. And, even the way it was wrestled, honestly, Claudio Castagnoli it's always a treat to watch him work luchadors, right? Like, you really see that part of his game is so special. And you see them kind of lean on him here to spotlight all three of the CMLL guys. I mean, I will say Volador, God bless him, had himself it wasn't his finest hour, I think it's fair to say.
That's where the familiarity thing that you mentioned was like really evident. Yeah. I think like, when he got in there with Mox, like they weren't on the same page at some points, you know.
And it also looked like he wasn't sure how to work, because Volador's in Arena Mexico, he's a babyface.
Yeah.
Here
he was struggling to figure out what to do here, it felt like. And that's fine. Yeah. I mean,
watching it was very fascinating. Mascara Dorada was like, I'm just gonna do cool shit. I don't, y'all do what you want to do.
Yeah, for sure. And Hechicero is like, honestly, if his fee has been increased exponentially from this 2-match run in AEW. Like, because I'd seen clips of Hechicero, the great Oracle of Wrestling friend of ours, was very excited when he got booked for AEW. He said that he was like the best wrestler in the world in 2013, which is a classic. Of course, that's how he would describe him. But like, seeing him, like, he is someone I want to see more of, and I'm going to try and watch more of. So, yeah, and I think this has been a cool, like, kind of side mission, I guess would be the way to put it. It's been neat, man. It's again an example of, like, even if it isn't the perfect version of it or the greatest match, it's like, these are the things that AEW has as a promotional strength, right? The idea that you can buy a ticket and then within 2 weeks there's an angle that comes to be that the CMLL trio is coming over to wrestle the Blackpool Combat Club. It's like just doing quirky shit like that will always pop me. So yeah, I really enjoyed this match, even if it did have like a couple flaws.
The reason why Hechicero is translated so well also is because he's the only CMLL guy in any of these matches who's actually a heel in his home promotion.
Right.
I think that makes a big difference because
Good call.
Yeah, that's what it is.
The finish was hilarious. We should note the finish was fucking hilarious. They did all of that stuff, including just kneed him in the dick and pinned him. Incredible, incredible finish.
It's funny because like we're in the era of like giving wrestlers who just want to help everybody and this and that, and Mox and Danielson are like the ultimate like we want to like lift everyone we wrestle with guys. However, in this match, Claudio did kind of give me vibes of like those old wrestlers in their promotional matches where like I'm here to look good. Like you do what you do. I'm gonna make myself look good, and you figure out what you want to do with that, which is kind of popped me.
Good stuff, man. All right, next up, Tony Khan's big announcement is that in 5 weeks from last night, AEW Dynamite will be held in Boston's TD Garden in a special edition of AEW Dynamite called Big Business, March 13th.
What a Monty.
Boston. Huh?
What a Monty bit. That's a Monty saying.
What big business?
Yeah, big business. The logo is hilarious.
It's been tainted now. You know? It's
the logo looks like a girl's Disney Channel movie. Like logo, you know. Like
I kind of know what you're getting at.
Yeah, you know? like you know, it's about like a 13-year-old aspiring pop star or some shit. And the movie's called Big Business, and the logo would just look like that. Yeah.
All right, so it was also reported immediately after the announcement that Mercedes Mone is heading to AEW and has been on their payroll for a while. This is according to Sean Rossap and Andrew Zarian of McMahon Wrestling. So yeah, Mercedes coming in, big business, TD Garden, Boston. People excited. Some WWE fans are quite upset. You know, some WWE fans are even excited to tune into a new company to watch Mercedes, you know. Big signing, as expected, for a few weeks now. This obviously is going to be her landing destination. And I guess we'll see how it unfolds over the next few weeks, whether it's a multi-year contract, whether it's, you know, how the extent of the contract, how often she's going to be on TV, how often she's going to wrestle, all those kind of things, I'm sure will become more evident as the weeks go on. But Ibu WrestlePurists, of course, is a huge signing for AEW. Mercedes, in theory, should take that women's division and promotion as a whole to at least another step up.
She's a game changer. She's a franchise player. She is potentially the greatest American women's wrestler of all time. She's in the middle of her prime. And so, this is a big one. This is a big-time signing. We've all been aware of this one for a couple weeks now. So, I mean, we found out at the end of December that the WWE thing fell apart. So her being signed for a month kind of tracks in that respect. Yeah. I'm sure right afterwards it's very simple. Yeah, Tony, so let's do it. You're going to pay me? Yes? Cool. Boom, pen to paper, right? So huge signing. I'm super duper excited for her because thankfully, a lot of the like mild concerns I had at the back of my mind about Mercedes and AEW, I have less now in the sense that like there have obviously now been overt and clear efforts made to restructure the division itself as a whole. And they very much did a thing of like cleaning up their house, cleaning the living room, moving some couches around, putting new decorations in before their nice guest comes in. You know, they didn't let Mercedes walk into like just like a, you know, an apocalyptic scene, so to speak. I was very down on the women's division coming out of Full Gear. I remember I wasn't super into the, you know, the Abaddon, Julia stuff. I wasn't into Tony Storm. And if nothing else, they've added a lot of pieces now to where it's like, there are a lot of people for Mercedes to work with on a week in and week out basis. And so I'm very encouraged. I'm very excited for this. And the best part about this, guys, is that we can actually talk about Mercedes' wrestling matches rather than Mercedes' contract situation. So fucking great. And I hope she keeps her Money theme song because
I think she will.
Because the idea of Mikey Ruckus thinking of a Mercedes Moné theme kind of terrifies me. So this is awesome. This whole thing is great. I think they're gonna do pretty well in Boston too. In terms of the tickets they move.
Yeah, I think they should. I think they should. You know, like I've said on past shows before, like Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks, she's not really got a track record of, you know, being put in a position where she can draw. So it's not like you can be like, oh well, we know she's gonna sell a lot of tickets because she did so in X, Y, and Z cities when she was in WWE. Because like I said, she was never put in a position to. The only thing we have is the San Jose Battle in the Valley show that she did for New Japan last year. But again, a weird sample to use because it's only like 2,000-3,000 tickets. But of course, she did sell a lot for that, and I think she will. I think the tickets go on pre-sale tomorrow, go on public sale on Saturday or something like that. So we'll get, you know, first indicators very, very, very shortly. But I do have quite a lot of confidence that it will move like a good. I think she'll move some tickets, to be honest. So we'll see how it plays out. Joe Hall, but what did you make of the announcement, the big business, the graphic, you know, the reaction, and just kind of your initial thoughts really on big business and TD Garden?
Honestly, I'm excited. I just think like events like this are so cool. The idea of building a TV around this like looming debut, like it's a little bit familiar, and that was one of the coolest wrestling events I've ever seen. Obviously, this is a slightly different circumstance, but it's still super cool, right? Like a really, really neat thing. And I just think, like, I'll get into my personal take on it in a second, but even beyond that, I just think it's good for the business, honestly. You know, like having a kind of to go further on Ibu's kind of metaphor there, you know, like adding an MVP candidate to this division that's like just creeping it in the playoffs and such. I think it's neat. As a fan and as someone that does this and is going to be doing these review shows, it's like I find it to be a fascinating kind of chance to reassess where Tony sees this division, because as Ibu mentioned, it is different right now, right? Like there has clearly been an effort to get this division prepared for a new era, so to speak. But now is the piece that's going to actually make a statement of that, right? Pun not so intended. Because frankly, it's like there's been nice little small moves and kind of subtle things, but Mercedes is the kind of piece that can put you in the main event. I was talking about on one of the million shows we've done as of late about, to me, Mercedes and Jamie Hayter is a Wembley main event, you know? Like Mercedes and Athena, if you give Athena the TV exposure, I think is a pay-per-view main event. Like this is a game changer. So I'm going to be I think we're all going to be tracking how he uses her and how it differs to kind of the norm with the women's division. So yeah, this is going to be really, really interesting. But beyond anything else, anything analytical, I'm just excited. I want to see her wrestle again. It's been way too long, and she is an incredible pro wrestler. So I'm thrilled.
She is very much so. Again, huge signing for AEW, and very excited to see what she does, because there's a lot of people that, you know, a lot of potential opponents for her and directions for her, and I'm sure they will be making a huge deal out of her, evident by, you know, booking the TD Garden and big business and the why is it boss with two dollar signs as S's, Boston.
Did you see the sides of that poster, by the way, with Julia and? Did you guys see that? Julia Hart is on like the corner of the poster. It looks kind of insane. As is Orange Cassidy. But yeah, poster looks hilarious. But I'm very excited.
Yeah, man. All right, moving on to Dynamite. Well, that was part of Dynamite as well. But yeah, Takeshita defeated Chris Jericho, tapped him out with the Walls of Jericho, nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't think this match was great or anything. I did think Jericho looked marginally better than he did. Was it last week where, you know, he was fresh off the cruise and he did not, you know, he did not look great at all. I didn't think it was last week or the week before. This week he did look better, but still wasn't exactly lit on fire by the Chris Jericho performance here. Takeshita, of course, hoping he does some big things in 2024, and I guess name value wise, getting a dominant win over Chris Jericho like that was, you know, I guess it is a feather in the cap, you know.
Is it?
But yeah, I ain't really got too much. I mean, according to Dave Meltzer, he's the highest paid person in AEW, so
I'm not.
You know,
I'm not totally sure about that one, but
neither am I.
Not
neither am I.
But look, man, I get it. Listen, notice, Monty, that when the first report came out about Mercedes being the highest paid Gaijin ever, certain people called certain outlets, and all of a sudden the Observer was correcting that it was actually Jericho, and all of a sudden it's out there that Jericho is the highest paid guy in AEW. I'm just and maybe someone's just very perceptive of his pockets and wants to let people know how it is. But nevertheless, no, beating Jericho in 2024 is not a feather in your cap. It means absolutely nothing. It holds zero value because there's never anything that's productive done with it. I mean, I'm dead serious.
Yeah, I know.
It meant absolutely nothing. Will Hobbs beat Jericho. Nobody remembers the match even took place. It was the piss break. It was actually the shit break during a head-to-head with NXT. And so, Chris Jericho at this point creatively has no value left in AEW. And as a performer, he just the thing about him before was that when he'd be frustrating creatively, you could at least rely on him to kind of do what he needed to do to get it done on a big stage. And as recently as like early last year, I mean, even the Ospreay match was very good in Wembley. But right now, there's nothing there creatively. There's nothing there physically, and that's even without the external baggage. So this just didn't feel like anything. The way Joe described the earlier part of the show as alive, this would be the opposite because I'm watching it and I just don't know what's the end game, because every few weeks we periodically get some type of plunder match that would suggest that this thing is over, but it's not over. It just continues and continues and continues. And again, Jericho is fine with doing jobs and good for him, pat on his back, but it just it's hard to feel anything about these jobs because again it doesn't really lead to much. And it's discouraging that Takeshita's kind of sagged a bit after the tremendous first week he had of the year. So this was just kind of there, and I thought the match fucking sucked, and it went too long. And that's it. Sammy Guevara came out. He reminded me that he existed and that this tag team was a thing, which is also an unfortunate reminder. He came out, and I was like, oh yeah, they're like, he's a babyface now. He's teaming with Jericho. Man, this story is awful. If it wasn't for the R-Truth Judgment Day thing, I'd say this is squarely the worst storyline in wrestling. But it's the second, so there you go.
There you go, Joe Hubert.
I didn't hate this match as much as many did. Like I saw this getting like pants. I was like, I think it was like terrible. I didn't think it was good either. It didn't need to be this long. The crowd didn't really know what to do with it. And the real issue is that as much as I can say I didn't think it was awful in terms of like a mechanically terrible match, it's impossible to care about. That's why I don't really disagree with anyone that does feel strongly about it, because I don't even know what like we're supposed to, like where our investment is supposed to lie at this point. It's hard to even, kind of recall what the conflict is, right? It's all rooted in this thing where he was going to join Don's group but didn't. And then, it's just bad, and it's just a bad wrestling angle. And the problem with Jericho is when he has bad wrestling angles, they live on forever and ever, and they go on for ages. That's been a problem. I will say I am surprised that hasn't been fixed, I guess is the word to use it. I mean, how many years now has it been since we talked about this being an issue with Jericho, where his stuff always goes a beat too far? This one has gone 6 beats too far.
And he doesn't seem like the kind of guy that has like the most amazing self-awareness. So.
It feels like someone could maybe like say to him, like maybe the booker.
You don't think that?
The thing about
never, like, over the years, never. You don't think it?
Look, bro, if it goes on the TV show, that's on the booker to me. Like it's very obvious.
I'm a strong proponent of it.
Yeah, it's like someone needs to stop. Like this feud has been
stop
running. Seriously though, they do like whether you think about Chris Jericho beyond this feud is hurting almost everyone involved at this point. He's ice cold, and it is stumbling to the finish line. Like it's
absolutely.
It just needs to end. It's that even to me. I think there is a bigger conversation about Chris is like what he has left to offer in general. I don't think he was wrong about that, but even beyond that, just this feud in itself, it's just dead, isn't it? It's over. Like move on. It's not helping anyone.
Joe, all this stuff also sticks out because AEW has tightened the screws and cleaned a lot of other things up around the product creatively. So like this, because when a lot of stuff was just kind of not clicking a couple months ago, this was just among the things that just wasn't particularly working.
Yeah.
But now that they've kind of cleaned up things like the creative, the presentation, more serious angles, a little bit less of the sports entertainment, the rankings, follow-ups for people, trying to get people momentum and not falling by the wayside after one good showing. All these things are subtle things that I've noticed have improved in the TV this year. I mean, but this hasn't. And so it would almost suggest that Chris is just very adamant about how his presentation goes. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Okay. AEW Tag Team Championships in the main event. Sting and Darby in the main event, taking on Ricky Starks and Big Bill, who were the current champions, and they defeated them. We got new AEW Tag Team Champions in Sting and Darby Allin going into Sting's retirement match at Revolution, assumably against the Young Bucks as a Tag Team Champion in Greensboro. We got the confetti, we got all those things, but most importantly, this was a really good main event. I thought. One of, especially in recent times, it has been. I think Joe's mentioned it on a few of our podcasts recently. Sting, as much as we all love him, he has looked, a little rough out there from time to time, which is perfectly fine. He's 64 years of age, and people will always pop for him regardless. But there's been a few minor red flags here and there, But last night I thought he looked pretty good. Of course, everyone will talk about the big dive that he did from the stands, which was very scary, but nonetheless, even outside of that as well, I thought overall his performance was pretty good. Darby Allin is just I don't even know what to call it. It's not even like, of course, his effort is always really great, but it's not just the effort. It's more his just willingness to just take anything, like that black hole slam that he took from Big Bill to the outside.
Unbelievable.
Is there another wrestler on the planet that would take that? Because it wasn't just like he did it. He did it emphatically, bro. Like
I'm not sure there's many wrestlers that would have that idea, to be honest, let alone take it.
Exactly.
That, because he has these creative ways to destroy himself. He's one of one for sure.
He really is something. But yeah, Darby was tremendous in this. I thought Ricky and Big Bill played their part very well. Sting, he looked quite promising here, and but yeah, man, I think Ricky Starks very good at playing his role in these things. He has good timing, he's got good fundamentals, etc. So and yeah, Big Bill, of course. A lot of AEW fans are just very high on Big Bill and kind of the progress he has made since joining the promotion. So yeah, quite a lot of positives to take from this show.
Yeah, I think this is, to your point, I think it's the best Sting's looked in a really long time, to be honest. And I think it's one of the best matches of his entire run. And I don't say that lightly because Sting, has had a great run in AEW and a very, very powerful run. But I just thought this was a home run, honestly. He looked like the house and the kind of atmosphere inspired him to kind of roll back the years a little, which is a very good sign for Greensboro, we must add. And these tornado tags have been a kind of a go-to formula. But this one, I don't know, there was a magic to this. Maybe it was the belts. Maybe it was the fact that the belts kind of added a certain gravity to the result rather than just being like another kind of Sting kicks ass match, which is fine by me anyway. But beyond that, it has to be said, this was the Big Bill match here, right? He had himself a night here. He looked terrific. And, I think Ricky did a good job of kind of bumping and making Sting's night easier when those two were locked up. Because when Sting was interacting with Big Bill, Sting made a point of kind of making it clear to the audience he couldn't win that particular duel, which I think is really, was very selfless for him, was a good sign for Big Bill. So, yeah, and Darby Allin, as you said, what's left to say about him? So, I love the match, and I will say, even if it kind of felt predictable going in, it felt big time when they won those belts, didn't it? It felt like a real moment, and the way the announcers putting it over, Sting's son's being there, I don't know. I found it to be like a weirdly powerful, moving moment. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I'm not sure. But
that was going to be my take.
Yeah, it was, right? Okay, good. If you take it away, but I'm glad it wasn't just me.
Also get into how the Young Bucks ruined said moment as well, either.
I thought it was moving too at the end. That's really why I like this match a lot. It almost feels like ungrateful to say this, but I felt that the frenzied Sting Darby crowd brawl thing, which I always love, I'm watching this one, and it was starting to finally not hit me the way it used to, because that used to always be like a rush for me, right? But I'm watching it here and I'm like, yeah, this is a cool crowd brawl where Sting does the big crazy balcony dive. But I was more into just big bills stuff specifically. But then we get to this late stretch where it's just kind of Sting finding his way against Ricky Starks. And again, there's always just something kind of powerful about an old gunslinger on his last leg who, in kayfabe and in reality, is just fighting physical attrition and wear and tear and summoning what he has left to kind of just be who everybody sees him as. And that's the Icons thing. And him doing so and doing the signature spots and firing back up and having the fighting spirit again, it was in those old knees and those old bones. It was just really, really cool. It was very magical, almost it's one of those like wrestling. Wrestling can be powerful and special and magical. Like Sting is eternal. He no matter what, he'll always get it done type of things, and he's gonna go out on top. And so, I just thought the ending stretch specifically is what made this match, and that specific part, it just added a layer of emotion to what was just another cool Sting Darby crowd brawl. And so I ended up loving this match.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll get into the Bucks thing. We should note that Sting, they did the "I'm sorry, I love you" finish, and Sting just kicked out, which is one of the most beast things that's ever happened in professional wrestling. But Young Bucks in all white, which anytime professional wrestlers wear all white and there's blood, it's already a great segment. This was like a money show closing angle.
Yeah,
the Bucks were the punches the Bucks were throwing here. The spite with and the fact they kicked the shit out of Sting's kids too. Good. This was real graps. This is like a classic angle. They closed the show with great visual with the blood and but this was. We were texting a little bit about this. This was like on a great show. This may have been the thing that was most striking. It was like, whoa, that felt different, right?
It was like, holy shit, a heat angle. Like an old school heat angle where the heels were white specifically to accentuate the blood that was gonna come. It's crazy, Joe. When they came in the ring, I literally said to myself, like, they got to drag these kids out, and it would be great if somebody bled. And then they did, and I was like, oh shit. And Matt Jackson's punches, I was like, wait a second. I thought he was Jeff Jarrett out there, or Tully Blanchard. This guy, he's grabbing the dude by the skull, and he's and I was like, holy shit, Matt Jackson punched him right in the fucking forehead. I was like, this has been a week, Joe, of forehead punches leading the not Hardway Juice in this case, but because Dijak did this to Dragunov on Tuesday. I don't know if you saw that.
I saw, yeah.
Yeah. So good week for pro wrestling, I guess. But this angle was awesome. And how fitting that this is the angle that you do to set up a main event in Greensboro, North Carolina. Couldn't go any other way, quite frankly. So, man. The other thing I want to say about this is, how could anybody want the Young Bucks in any other role that isn't detestable fucking pieces of shit? These guys are at their best being insipid, vile fucking twats. And it's so the contrast and the difference is so stark to me when they do their regular kind of like, I don't want to say phoned in, but very much go through the gears, just the routine that they do with the normal super kick party Bucks. It was leading to diminishing returns, and I think we all spoke about it last year when it came to that type of thing. And it's also why I could never get into like the Elite's babyface reunion, because I've always said this, they're all better apart from each other at this current point in time. And in the Young Bucks in particular, this is the best main event version of the Young Bucks in this role as main event heels. So I'm bang into this, as the Brits say.
Greensboro is going to be red hot, man. Like, it was going to have a great atmosphere if they did the Sting retirement matches like just a celebration of Sting, it would have a great atmosphere. But that ain't what this is now. This is now a blood feud, Like, they beat up Sting's kids, bro. Like, this is now going to be, what a way to close it out, Let's take it back to Crockett with this. This is going to be magic. I'm so excited to see what happens with this match.
Yeah, man. Like you said, Greensboro is going to be electric. So, yeah, man, a very good episode of AEW Dynamite. A lot to like, some good wrestling, some good angles, big announcement from Tony Khan. Like I said at the start of the show, a lot of AEW fans are very happy coming out of it. And yeah, man, again, I think it's fair to say thumbs up from all three of us. All right, let's only got like 5 minutes, but let's talk about this press conference, man. Me and Joe spoke about it whilst we was kind of waiting around for a bit to kind of drag it out before we dived into the Dynamite review. So we did talk about it a bit, but you know, the WrestleMania 40 kickoff press conference is in 3.5 hours. I want to say,
Yep.
7 p.m. Eastern, Las Vegas. Got a proper venue for it. Going to be a lot of people there, you'd assume. I think media are going to be able to ask some questions as well. They could be very, very important questions, especially after the past couple of weeks, you know.
Steve Fall got us.
Oh, come on, bro. Come on. But yeah, WrestleMania press conference. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's going to be there. He's starting new hashtags. He's been doing media appearances. He's pushing this thing, you know. Roman Reigns, we saw him getting off the jet. We didn't see no Cody Rhodes getting off the jet, which I was kind of waiting. I was waiting for like not him getting off the jet. I thought they were gonna do like an unintentional own. You know, like, I thought it was gonna be like, you know, you got Roman coming off the jet, you got Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson getting off the jet, and I thought they were gonna get like Cody pulling up in a car or something. You know, just like something just normal, just like.
Did Joe and Monty? Did you guys see Triple H getting off the jet?
No.
It was the video.
Did you see? Did you see Brian Goertz behind Dwayne?
It's words. Brian Goertz. That was disgusting. But Joe, video Triple H getting off, and he just looks like deeply uncomfortable, like in his own skin. Like he looks like he can't breathe. Like I'm not even kidding. Like I was like, is he all right, bro? Like
just like me for real.
He's walking out and he's just kind of like, it looks like he's like holding his breath. He's just like, and I'm like,
he knows he's walking into a storm, brother.
These are little, you know, details here. But what do I even want to talk about? Predictions.
Did you see what
Dwayne's gonna Dwayne? You know, he's gonna do his long elaborate speeches. Cody, I have no idea what he's gonna come out with. You know, if you're a Cody Rhodes fan, I guess your only hope can be that if Cody Rhodes doesn't pick Seth, then it's like the dream's still alive in some sense. Even if you see the graphic tonight of Roman versus Dwayne, you know, because it's obviously there's every possibility that they could do it over 2 nights. There's every possibility that they could make it a triple threat match. And this is wrestling. They have the option to change and do things right up until before they go out there for the matches at WrestleMania. So a lot of things could still change even from tonight, depending on how things go. But who knows how tonight's going to go? You know, Cody's putting on his Instagram that he's made his decision. CM Punk's put on his Instagram story that he's seemingly traveling to Las Vegas. What's he going to do? A lot of people speculating that he might be the host or have some role to play in his press conference. What else? Yeah, Cody Rhodes has made a choice. He's going to pick Seth. He's going to pick Roman. How and what are they going to announce as far as Roman Reigns' match or potentially matches at WrestleMania? I don't even know what the most common guess is of what they're going to do at this point. You know, I know a lot of people who think they're going to do a triple threat. I know a lot of people who think they're going to just do Cody versus Roman in some way or somehow. I know people who just think, you know, straight up Dwayne, Rock, Cody, you wrestling Seth, brother. So I guess as good as a prediction as you can get or feeling that you can get. I'll start with you, Joe, because you're not the person who's disappeared off Twitter, emotionally affected by all this.
Yeah.
You know, you're pretty chill about this. You know what I'm saying? So, come on, talk to me, Joe. What you thinking? How you think this is going to play out? Like, I'm putting you on the spot. I know, but
that's fine. I mean, as I kind of got into earlier, the thing that makes this intriguing is whatever option you pick, there is a very fair response to it, right? I am currently leaning towards them doing the kind of, you know, they do both matches, one on night one, one on night two. Yeah. Now, the issue with that, obviously, is that would suggest Roman Reigns is wrestling 2 nights in a row, which based on recent evidence, is insane. And I understand that is not like a particularly good bet. However, I'm looking at the other options here, and to my eye, it's either a triple threat, which has never made sense to me, and I don't think Rock would be into that idea, or he picks Seth freaking Rollins, which I don't know. I think they're going to do the 2-night thing, but I'm not confident in that. It's like that's why they've got my attention with this. I don't know what makes sense anymore. I don't know what the fuck I don't even know what the story is. I'm being honest with you. I don't even know what the idea
confusing,
is.
Bro. Like,
it's so weird. So weird. That's my prediction, I guess.
The thing is, like, if Roman wasn't Roman, I'd be like, oh, they're probably gonna do a 2-night thing, you know. But like, it's Roman. He doesn't like wrestling, and so
I'm sure, surely, yeah. In a situation like this, with someone with Roman's power, as we'll call it for the sake of this conversation, surely he could get a pretty healthy bonus or something along those lines.
That's the thing. Like, knowing Roman Reigns, Joe, like, if they go to him and like, okay, so you're gonna work your cousin Dwayne, which you've been wanting to do for years. You do that on night 1 and go over, and then job to Cody the next night. There's a good chance he like leans his head back and smirks. And he's like, "The fuck," So, and that's when Hunter is leaning in like, "Look, I talked to Nick. We're gonna give you the bonus. All right, we're gonna take care of you. Okay, can you please just do this?" And he's like, "Did you talk to fucking Dwayne? Like, what is going on here?" So I do not know. I don't know if Dwayne is trying to intentionally go heel this morning. I don't know if he's going to go full Hollywood Rock in the thing. He tweeted, Joe, I don't know if you saw this. He said, "Crybabies welcome." So there's a chance Dwayne goes full Hollywood Rock in his press conference. He's like, yeah, bring it on. Come on, crybabies. Come on. Finally, The Rock has come. No sing along with The Rock. No sing along with The Rock. You're booing The Rock. You're hashtagging The Rock. No. He might do the whole song and dance and shebang, which would be wildly entertaining. But I don't know what the story is here. The angle is, so I don't know what's gonna. Is Phil gonna crash this thing and cut a promo? Like,
oh god, in the sling too. Yeah, I don't know, bro. Punk being there is somewhat ominous, to be honest with you.
Punk, it is.
Like, I hope they have like an idea for him, and he's not going to just be like, "Welcome to the show, everyone. Here we are." I don't want Punk to be doing that shit. I
saw people tweeting like, Punk is the host of Mania, and I'm like, Punk as a host is weird.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm CM Punk, and this is like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
It's such a bad fit for his like image to me.
So weird. But right. Because I need to slowly start putting a bow on this. Iba, prediction.
I'm predicting the worst possible
What is it?
outcome. I think this is going to be really stupid and frustrating.
Which is what?
Cody's going to pick Seth.
Okay. All right.
That will fucking rule.
My plan is
the funniest way to do it would be like the least self-aware, like he picks Seth, like that's what everyone always wanted him to do,
Yeah. Dusty's belt, one of those.
Like,
good stuff.
Rock, you take on Roman. I take Seth. I take his belt. I come for Roman, and we will unify these someday. And you're like, great.
Whatever. But we'll see how it plays out. I'm sure it's going to be interesting. I'm sure we're going to get a few tweets out of it, a few announcements out of it, hopefully a few graphics out of it as well. So, as Joe's mentioned a couple of times, I can't believe WWE have conned us into watching another hour, 2 hours, whatever it is of WWE content. But it is what it is. I'm sure most of us here will be tuning in to see how it all plays out. But yeah, man, we've got a few super chats. So get them in last chance for you to get your super chats in, then we're going to get out of here because I've got a spaghetti bolognese being made for me. Priorities, bro.
What the fuck?
Will Chisholm, $5. Will Chisholm, $5. It did feel like they were going to have a Julia Hart versus Thunder Rosa match. Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I don't know. I'm going to try to find out though for you guys. I don't know what's going on with Julia. Maybe she's just fine, But yeah, Darren Walker, £2. Appreciate you. How do you book the debut segment for Mercedes in Boston? Quick ideas, anyone?
I'd have someone make an open challenge. I'd say have Serena Deeb says an open challenge next week and have that be the big match.
They've been doing that on Collision. I feel like they want that to be like a Collision thing. You know,
Maybe,
I don't
yeah.
know. We'll see. We'll see how they build it. You know, we'll see how they build it. But yeah, big fan of Deep. She's been looking sharp since coming back as well. Alex Diaz, $19.92. Appreciate you. I will say this: the Rock thing. Okay, I just kind of lost connection for a sec more. Alex Diaz, $19.92. I will say this Rock thing. Cody will go mainstream. I mean, we'll see. You know, he's got some mainstream coverage, but it hasn't really become like a mainstream actual topic. You know, like people aren't talking about it everywhere you go and sort of thing. But, you know, it's not going to hurt. You know, in terms of the eyes, but it could hurt long term in other ways. So it's like, you know,
Yeah.
Corey David, $2. Appreciate you. Thoughts of Ilya versus Trick? How would Ilya do in AEW? Ilya would do great in AEW, given the opportunity to just do what he does, which is wrestle as much as possible. You know, if he was given those opportunities and he was wrestling the Danielsons of the world, and you know, the Hangmans of the world, the Swerve Stricklands of the world, and the people that everyone likes to see wrestle at the moment, then he'd be phenomenal. You know, he could even catch fire because I do think he is like that good, but. You know, he's in WWE at the moment. And he's doing very, very well in WWE. Judging off thoughts off, yes, our thoughts on Ilya versus Trick. Tremendous. Somehow topped the first match. So just...
Yeah.
Yo, guys, I saw a tweet and it was it has a quote and the gif is a guy about to shoot himself. The quote says, "On the count of 3, this side, Cody. This side, crybabies, Cody." Cry.
Oh, nasty. Mass 4,199. Appreciate it. Okada as a heel in AEW? Question mark. I'd pair him with the Bucks. There's loads of options for Okada if it is actually where he's going. AEW. Yeah, because he's already like seen as a big deal in AEW, so like that means you've already got, you know, you've mentioned the Bucks, you've got people you could tag with, you've got built-in feuds and stuff already. Then obviously there's kind of the intrigue of people he's never been in a ring with before that you can do. So, having him as a heel, it depends on what group and stuff you put him with. Like maybe it could work with the Bucks, but I think you'd probably be better off coming in babyface and just kind of seeing how it goes with him, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll say one of the things that would interest me that is at least it would be like it'd be like starting fresh with something, you know, rather than just coming in as like world famous Kazuchika. I don't know. There would be a novelty to that, I think.
Mazfan84199, appreciate it. WrestlePurists interview with Teal Rhodes after her bro gets cooked. Big fan of Teal. She put over one of Jamie Ross's features on Cody Rhodes like 2 years ago. But you know, positive interactions with Teal Rhodes on the Bird app, so I'd be open to interviewing her. Will Chisholm, $5, appreciate it. Triple H looking like that because he's hurting off of what happened between TNA and Scott and Rossi and Stardom. Maybe. I doubt it. I doubt it, but maybe.
Just sweating bullets, you know, Scott D'Amore.
No, you didn't see the Triple H Scott D'Amore report where it was like Scott and Triple H had like a growing rapport and they were.
Oh shit! I didn't know. Sorry, Will. My bad.
Yeah, they had like a rapport and like they were the two kind of working this Impact thing out and stuff. And now that Scott's there, like they don't know who's going to be the intermediary and whatnot. So I don't know. Monty, we have breaking CM Punk news. CM Punk will be the host of today's WrestleMania press conference.
I thought he was going to say it'd be the host of WrestleMania. Then I was going to say that would have been funny as far after we just dunked on it. Okay.
Wait,
so will it be like a panel thing?
It's going to be Punk, Big E.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Pat McAfee and Michael Cole.
That was very spiteful to Pat Mac. You know, people like.
Oh, come on, bro. I don't have to like
people.
I
know, but when you
like a lot of shit, bro.
When we are informing our audience of what's happening, you know,
I'm not doing that. You are.
Joe, he's on Raw commentary now, and he has not watched the product. So like he literally on air went, "So what's this DIY thing all about?"
That's to be fair, I've asked that question. To be fair,
it just killed me though with Pat Mac on commentary when like sometimes, like you said, it is quite clear that he hasn't been super up to date with the product as of late.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like sound bites like the one that Ibu just mentioned. But there's also like sometimes he'll just be like, it's not even necessarily what exactly he says, but you can tell he's just kind of like filling like what he's just filling gaps what he feels like he should be talking in.
Oh my god, like again, he's unfamiliar with a lot of these guys. So like Bronson Reed's in there and he's like, he feels like he has to say something. He's like, big dude, pretty big dude, you gotta be honest, Pretty tough.
I wouldn't have much to add, to be fair. So yeah, you're changing my mind on this, actually.
the best one.
Five.
Nakamura's out. Sorry, Nakamura's coming out. He was like popping. He's like, because remember Nakamura was with Rick Boogs when he was last.
Of course.
So Nakamura's coming out. He's like, Nakamura, strong style, and he's like dancing and stuff. And Cole has to like without breaking kayfabe go like, Nakamura's undergone many shifts since you've last been here. You've done some very reprehensible things in your absence, Bad. Bad's like, my bad. He's like, always been a fan of the song. I love the guy.
It's funny shoot, Anyway, we've got a few last super chats and we're gonna get out of here. Corey Davey, $2, appreciate it. Ibu, have you acknowledged your tribal chief?
No.
Kazuchka, $4.99, appreciate you. The only big businesses there is the Rainmaker, Chase, U era, Brahma Bull, greater than Horror Husker. Layers. Corey David, $2, appreciate you again. You want Seth and Mox money or tribal chief money?
Mox is doing
tribal
pretty.
Chief.
Mox is doing
Tribal
pretty.
chief, yeah, but he's tribal chief money, brother. That's.
I'm saying, I think Roman makes $10 million, Monty. I'm genuinely serious about this. I think he makes $10 million.
Yeah, you lot throwing. You've said that about 3 different people, I think. So.
No.
He just throws like the most absurd, somewhat believable number.
I think Roman gets 10.
We'll never know. I don't think we'll ever know. No,
I think
I'll
be able to find that out.
I don't know, man. Globe Wrestling, $1.99, appreciate it. Does CM Punk show up at the press conference? Question answered. Will Chisholm, $5, appreciate it. Seth, shoot laughing at the Rocky sucks chance. Pops me says, Seth says we don't need you, Rock. Made me a fan of him.
He was shoot laughing at the Rock on Monday. He was like, wow, didn't expect that one.
Yeah, anything else before we get out of here, Press conference, CM Punk hosting it.
Cody's facial expression when they chanted Rocky sucks was incredible because he's obviously like really relieved at that and like very satisfied at it, but he can't show this publicly, So Joe, I don't know if you saw this, they chant Rocky sucks and he kind of like does this like and kind of puts his head down a little bit and it's just kind of like, and like he just tries to maintain the most like the super poker face, but yeah, it was incredible.
Yeah, man, it's good. I was going to say it's good stuff, but it's just very confusing stuff, which hopefully we have more answers to by the end of today. We're just going to wait and see how it all plays out, man. But that's where we're at. WrestleMania press conference, hosted by CM Punk. Dwayne's going to be there. Cody's going to be there. Seth Rollins is going to be there. Triple H is going to be there. Rhea Ripley's going to be there. Is Becky going to be there?
Yes. No.
Can't remember if Becky was mentioned. I know Rhea's going to be there, though. Mm-hmm. I think if Seth's there, I don't know. Someone in the chat's probably already said. Someone said, nah. Someone said, are you guys doing a watch-along for the presser? Joe, you're doing something on Late Night Grim, but it's not particularly a watch-along, but you will be reacting to the main points,
yeah.
won't you?
Yeah, we're going to just kind of be hanging out while it's on, and then when something fucking hilarious happens, we'll lock in and laugh. Yeah.
There you go. And one last super chat before we get out of it. Ibu, does Seth go to AEW? We'll say.
My prediction is he stays.
Hot take, bro.
Yeah, man. All right. Going to get out of here. AEW Dynamite was very good. A lot of excitement coming out of it in terms of the in-ring and the other things as well. Obviously, the big announcement for Boston is huge. The WrestleMania kickoff press conference is happening in a few hours. It's going to be very interesting. We'll probably do some sort of show tomorrow. I'm not exactly 100% sure what that will be, but we'll probably do something depending on how it goes. And because we do shows on Fridays anyway. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe. Thanks as always for the super chats. Massively appreciate you guys. And make sure you tune in to the Late Night Grin. What time are you going live?
Probably 5 minutes before, probably 7:55 Eastern, I guess, right? No, 6:55 Eastern. 6:55.
There you go. So going live 6:55 Eastern. People keep an eye out for it. And as always, follow the @WrestlePurists page, and you'll be up to date with everything that we're going to be doing on this channel. So again, appreciate you guys for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and thank you again for the super chats. Massively appreciate you all. Peace.